I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, should I become a bad boy in order to attract women? Well, I've got an email here from a guy who he seems to be suffering from nice guy-itis. And he says, "Hi Corey, first off, sorry for my English, it's my second language. What if I'm too kind with women? Till now, I had about 8 girls who wanted me to stay just friends, and I said I can't because I don't need a girlfriend, and I'm not gay." It's not a bad comeback, I guess. He says, "I can talk with any girls I like on the street and easily get their phone numbers, but later girls reject me. They seem to only want friendship, and I want a relationship. I know I am too kind, and I still do the wrong things you talk about, but should I be a bad boy? Now, the girls that I left call me when they need something, so they use me. That's what happens with good guys. Yesterday, I left one girl because when I said that I need more, she said that I won't get sex. I know I like her, but she's now studying and can't look to herself to fall in love." That's what she said. So she said, "I can wait for about 4 years. I took her home and said, if you change your mind, you can call me. I learned that from you." Well, good. He says, "Did I muck up?" Well, here's the problem. You may be doing a couple things. You're probably going out with women that don't really have a high level of interest in you to start with. Or when you're on your dates, you're doing things that are making you look weak. And the idea is when you go out on a date with a girl, you want to be asking them questions, getting them to talk about themselves. Because you want to know, is the girl interesting? Do you actually genuinely like listening to what she has to say? Is she fun to be around? Those things are important. And some guys think that being a bad boy means they've got to be a dick. Well, what it is that attracts women to bad boys or men that basically treat them like dicks is the behavior that they exhibit. The behavior that they exhibit is these guys come and go as they please, and they do what they want, and they really don't give a shit whether somebody likes it or not. Now, they can be charming, and they can be sweet, and they can be fun, but they don't call, they don't send flowers, they don't do things like you see in all the movies and TV telling guys to do, which is basically act like a nice guy, which you already know that you're acting like a nice guy, and I would encourage you to read and download my book, obviously. But because women are attracted to confidence and male strength characteristics, where you plan out a date or you ask a girl on a date and you make definite plans instead of just kind of leaving it up in the air, because feminine energy is kind of about being up in the air, unsure of yourself. And when you act unsure of yourself, you're acting like a woman. When you do things like doing favors for women or fixing her garbage disposal or fixing her car or picking her up or lending her money, you're acting like a friend would act. You're not acting like a lover would act. You want to do things that a lover would do, not that a friend would do. And your problem is that you're being super nice to girls and you're not standing up for yourself. And so when a woman disrespects you, you just stand there and take it. And when a woman sees that she can walk all over you or jerk you around, like when it comes to making plans, instead of you making a definite date with definite plans, or texting her incessantly back and forth constantly, because the phone is only supposed to be used for setting dates, setting appointments. But when you sit there and you chit-chat back and forth constantly, men who are successful women, they don't have time for this bullshit because they're busy with their careers or their businesses or their lives, or maybe they're busy with other chicks, but they simply don't have time to fuck around and waste on the phone. It's like when a woman reaches out to them, they simply make a date to get together, and other than that, they ain't got time to sit there and chit-chat. But when you sit there and you chit-chat back and forth, when you don't really want to do that because you really want to go out with them, but you're doing it because you think it's what you need to do in order to get her to like you, you're basically acting like a woman would act. You're acting like a male girlfriend would act. You're not acting like her lover. You're dancing around the subject. You're being nice because you're afraid to stand up for yourself or to be direct and go for what you want. And women like a guy who goes for what they want. I'll give you an example. I don't know if you saw the movie called The Tourist with Johnny Depp and Angelina Jolie, but if you did, there was a scene in the train where he meets her, Angelina Jolie's character, for the first time, and Johnny Depp acts like the essential or quintessential nice guy like you're doing. And I'm going to read this dialogue in the movie, and it will give you some great insight on how you want to act with women. And so his character says, "I'm sorry." He's apologizing all the time. And she says, "What for?" And then there's an awkward silence that follows, and Frank laughs uncomfortably, which he's basically acting like a woman in this particular moment. And then he says, "Do you mind me smoking? It's not a real cigarette," because he's smoking one of those electronic ones. And then she says, I love this, she says, "That is somewhat disappointing." And then he says, "Would you rather have me smoking for real?" And then she says, this is a great, and listen to this very carefully, she says, "I would rather you'd be a man who did exactly as he pleased." And then she says, "I'm Elise." In other words, she introduces herself. And he says, "I'm Frank." And then the conversation continues for a little bit, and then she suggests something. She says, "Ask me to dinner, Frank." And he says, "What? Okay, would you like to have dinner?" And then I love this, because when women like you, they help you. And that's what, whoever wrote this part in the movie fucking really got it. And he says, and so after he says, "What? Okay, would you like me to have dinner?" Then she says, "Women don't like questions." And then Frank says, "Join me for dinner?" And then she says, "Too demanding." And then he says, "Join me for dinner?" And then she says, "Another question." In other words, she's basically saying, "You just asked me another question." And then he says, "I'm having dinner if you care to join me." And then she smiles and accepts. Do you see the subtle difference there? He's basically communicating, "I'm a man and I'm doing this if you care to come along." In other words, I'm moving in this direction, and I'd like for you to come along. And he doesn't really care either way whether she says yes or no. And he's acting like a man that moment. And so she's gently guiding him to act and show up like a man is supposed to act. And you should probably replay this part of the video several times to get the mindset with women. You don't want to act like a pleaser, which is obviously the way you're acting. And it's, "Hey, I'm going to be at this bar if you care to meet up with me later." You're going to be at the bar having a good time because you want to go out and have a good time, and she's more than welcome to come. She's more than welcome to join you. That's the mindset. It's a subtle difference, but it's a fucking huge difference. You don't have to be a dick and act like a bad boy who's a fucking asshole to women. You just have to be confident and act like a man who's going about his life, and when he encounters a gorgeous, beautiful woman, he invites her to come along, or he says, "You're more than welcome to come if you care to join." It's perfect. So if you have a question that you want to ask me, or there's a topic you want me to cover in a future video newsletter, go to my website, click the Contact Me tab, which is on the left-hand side of your screen. Send me 1 to 2 paragraphs max, detailing your questions, your situation, your challenges, and you just got to give me several days to get back to you with a response, because I get a lot of email from the internet, and I also get a lot of it from my paying phone coaching customers. But be patient, and I will get back to you. And if you want to talk to me right away, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session. And you can do that by going to my website, click the Products tab, which is going to be at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. If you want to get a digital version of my Kindle ebook, you don't have to have a Kindle device to read it. All you have to do is, once you go to my website, underneath the email sign-up box, there'll be a link, and a box below that, it'll take you to the Amazon Kindle download page for my book. And once you get there, on the right-hand side, there's a button, and that button will open up a window where you can download one of their free e-reader apps for your Android smartphone or your Android tablet, your iPhone, your iPad, your Mac, or your PC. Only takes a matter of seconds to download the free app that's appropriate for your device, and then it only takes a few more seconds once the app's installed to download and complete the purchase of my book, and you'll be reading it in no time. And I will talk to you soon.